everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap-up. So for the month of March, I read 10 books. No, I didn't really read all of them, but we're just going to lump them all together. Alright, I had 5 3 stars, 2 4 stars, and then I have 2 books that I just didn't finish. One was an audiobook, and then one was just really dark. So the first book that I read is Green by Jay Lake. I gave this book 3 star, I gave this book 4 stars. And I also have a review in case you want to watch it. I'll leave it linked down below and at the end if I can remember. And then next I read Endurance. I gave this book 3 stars, primarily just because of world building. And then I read Master of Crows by Grace Draven. I gave this book 3 stars. And then I listened to the audiobook of Certain Dark Things. I can't remember the author's name. I did not finish it. I tried really hard. I don't know if maybe it was just the narrator or what, but I could not get into this book. I only made it to like 23 pages, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I think I'm just gonna check it out at the library and like a physical copy and try to read it that way. So I did not rate it because I did not finish it. And then next I started reading Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This book was very dark. I only made it to like, I don't know, page 50 or so, or 90. Yeah, I only made it to like page 90. This book is very dark, very dark. And I just wasn't feeling it at the moment, so I just put it down. It wasn't bad or anything. It was just a lot darker than I had kind of expected it to be. So I got to get in a different mood for really dark books. And then I picked up The Brush of Black Wings. It's a novella following the Master of Crows book. It's like 5 years or so after the first book, Master of Crows. It still follows Sahara and Martise. I gave that book 3 stars. Then I read The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell, and I gave this book 3 stars. And so I ran out of sticky notes, so I've been using just little cards. I have a little bit of a rundown. Follows a young woman named Esta as she travels back to 1902 to find a book that is supposed to have the power to destroy the brink, a barrier of sorts that rips power away from people, often crushing them, or often causing them to become insane or to die. She infiltrates a group, and together they plan a heist to steal the book right from under the noses of the Order. But things do not go as planned, and betrayal surrounds Esta and the other members. So I wrote, it was an okay book. The settings weren't heavily detailed, and characters were good. I found myself skipping through, and it wasn't until the last 100 pages or so that things got really interesting. I did not see a villain plot twist. That was a good one. It looks like things were set up for a sequel, and I don't know how I really feel about that. Felt things could have been wrapped up without adding another 300-page book, but you know, who knows. I'm not sure if I'm interested in continuing on, honestly. Like, I was kind of blah. Like, I skipped through a lot of that book. Like, I wasn't like whole chunks or nothing, but I'd start reading like blah and just skip. So that's why I only gave it 3 stars. I just wasn't liking it. I just didn't. Just don't care enough, honestly, to go on. Next, I read Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I gave this 3 stars. So I'll give him a little card. Alright, so Truthwitch follows Safia, a Truthwitch, and Iseult, a Threadwitch, on a crazy adventure. They are just trying to survive and hide Safia's powers because she can see and sense if someone is telling the truth or lying. She has a very valuable power. So she is running from a blood witch, Edwin, a prince who isn't what he seems, and several other powerful political figures who just want Safia's power for their own. That's just a very small rundown. So I wrote on the back, there wasn't a whole bunch of world building, but some locations we went to were described in enough detail. The characters, Safia and Iseult, are thread sisters, basically like the best of best friends, who would do everything in their power to protect and care for each other. I loved how deep their friendship went. I love strong female relationships. I'm here for them. Merrick, the Prince of Nubrevna, is very devoted to his people. He's not perfect and can do, he's not perfect, can do no wrong. He has flaws, and makes mistakes, but he was very well written. Aedwin, the Blood Witch. Like I really liked his character too. So the plot was interesting, as well as another point, but I don't want to say too much about it because of spoilers. I do hope, though, that the history of the wells, or the origin wells, and the Car Alwyn, I'm assuming how that's pronounced, are further explored in Wind Witch. And I did give this 3 stars. I really wish that more world building had been put in, like why I believe they're called the Nomansti, whatever. Like I really, like, why are they so hated? Doesn't really go into detail on that. Like, why don't people like them? Like, what's the history with that? So not a lot of, like, history was given, and I really felt that we could have added a little bit more. It would have been a little bit better. So yeah, I only gave Truthwitch 3 stars. And then I read Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, and I gave this 4 stars. So it continues to follow Safi, Is, and Merrick, and we also get more of Aedwin. Vivia, Merrick's sister, we also get her perspective too, which I found really interesting. So Is still trying to reach Safi, and Merrick realizes that he hasn't been seeing his sister, like her true self. And then Aedwin makes a surprising decision, and amid betrayal, looming war, and hectic fighting, each group grapples with their decisions. I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but Wind Witch was my favorite book out of the 2 of them. Each character has grown. Safi and Iz's friendship is still strong and still beautiful. Aedwin is shown in a new light, and I'm super excited to see where his storyline goes. There were some interesting points brought up, and I'm excited to see them expanded upon it in the next book. I still would have liked more background on the Namasti, the Red Cells, and the Bedouins. I believe that's how they're pronounced. So I don't want to go like in a whole bunch of detail, but this book was like much better than Truthwitch. I really enjoyed this book. Like I want Witchlands 3 like right now. I believe there's a novella called Sightwitch, right? I believe it's called Sightwitch. I might look into reading that. I don't think I'm gonna buy it, but it's shaping up. Like you can tell, like her Miss Dennard's writing has improved a bit. So I'm excited to see where book number 3 leads us. And then I am currently reading the Six Gun Tarot by R.S. Belcher. Look at this. This is crazy. So like I'm not like far into this. I'm only 75 pages in. And I have no clue what's going on in the most wonderful way. I stole that, y'all, if you know who I stole that from. But anyway, so it's really hard for me to describe this book right now, so I'm just going to read one of the things on the back. A steampunked romp through a mystic west drenched in blood and magic. Any book containing pirates, Armageddon, fallen angels, talking coyotes, and 2 entirely different ancient cults is clearly not your average Western. So this book, like I mean, I can't even go and describe what this book is pretty much. Like a sheriff who was hung 3 times and still survived. I mean, he gets shot, he survives. Like why? Like I want to know why he's still alive right now. A young boy with a legacy from his father that we have no clue about. Something about Chinamen, and it's like set in a Western setting, like dystopian setting, and in like the 1860s. the late 1860s, 1869. And there's just some crazy crap going on. So all the chapter titles are names of tarot cards. So that's really interesting. I wonder if there's some hidden meaning behind that. I don't really know much about tarot, but I'm just wondering. So, I don't know. It's really exciting. Like, I believe it's just a trilogy, and I own all 3 books. So, I'm really excited. Like, this is just a mashup of a whole bunch of random things. And at one part, there were some angels. Like, we were up in heaven with, like, the archangel Gabriel and some other ones that I can't even pronounce their names. But, so that was interesting. Yeah. So, maybe I'll get done with it before the 1st of April, but we'll see. So my month, like, was very, very slow. It took me a very long time, and then it wasn't until the last, like, this last week that I've really, like, picked up on my reading. So I'm really surprised and pretty happy with it, honestly. Alright, that is it for my March wrap-up. Maybe consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. My Twitter and Goodreads accounts will be linked in the description box below, so feel free to subscribe to me on those for other random bookish life / random crap content if you're interested. Alright, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.